Hi guys, how you doing? Boxcar here. As most of you know, if you can see, if you've been following me along, you can see that I'm not on the trail anymore. I actually had to cut my trip short about 300 miles. I had some family stuff come up here, and I had to get off the trail. And to me, it was a pretty good decision. Get back here. I don't think I'll be able to make it for the rest of the season before it gets too hot to finish up the next 300 miles, but that's okay. I'll figure it. I'll get it knocked out here next season or the season after. But yeah, back at the tiny home here, and I just wanted to use this time now to kind of go over a little gear review. Kind of more of a tutorial, not an in-depth review. It's kind of what I used on this hike, and I'll go back through here in the next few days and make another video, in-depth review of of what I used fully. But so let me get started for my pack. I used the ULA Ohm 2.0. with the S straps, medium torso, medium hip belt, and took all the little extra bits that come on it, took it all off, and got the weight down as much as I could on it. I think it's at like 26 ounces right now. 26 or so ounces, 25 ounces. All the little stuff taken off of it. And I can't say enough good stuff about this pack. The whole time, it rode like a dream. It was a really good pack the whole time. I love the company. I love the people that make these packs. They do a great job. They're bomb-proof, and just all in all, a just great pack. I used a MLD pack liner, just a clear pack liner for it, and that was pretty much my backpack setup. For my quilt, I used a Hammock Gear Burrow 20, short and wide, and it's a great quilt. Again, made by great company. A little warm for this trip, so I didn't really. I mean, I used it and I covered up, but it really didn't get that cold the whole time I was out on the trail. So I probably could have got away with like a 40-degree quilt. I just chose to go with my 20 just in case, and I could have easily done a 40-degree quilt and been fine. But the quilt itself is great. It's really good again, Cottage Company. I love them. They're a great company. Great quilt. Did the trick. Like I said, I would have switched up to a 20 or I would have switched up from a 20 to a 40 degree had I known it was going to be this hot in the wintertime. IBC black cherry soda. Delicious. Anyways, yeah, and with that, my shelter that I used for this trip was a Hexamid Solo Plus tarp made by Z-Packs with a Serenity net tent made by Six Moons Designs, and some titanium shepherd's hook tent stakes. I don't know, Vargo I think was the brand. But anyways, the Hexamid's awesome. Z-Packs is a great company. The Solo Plus is a giant shelter. I mean, it's huge. It's a big shelter. Plenty big enough for me, my gear, and then a lot of extra room. So I think on my next hike or something, I'm going to downsize it to like a Hexamid, regular just size Hexamid instead of the Solo Plus, just a Hexamid Solo or something. The Serenity net tent was a great last minute buy, because I tell you what, I probably would have had to cancel my trip in Okeechobee or before Okeechobee because of the mosquitoes on them levees were horrendous. And I can't believe that I ever thought about maybe doing this trip without any kind of bug netting and just using a tarp, because that would have been horrible. So I'm glad I switched that up. It did great. Same thing. I mean, Six Moons has always been a good company with me. Got a couple of their shelters, and I love them. Had their backpack I used on another through hike, and I loved it. Like I said, the same thing. Z-Packs, you know. The one thing I wish Z-Packs would do with their shelters is make them guy lines, make it so the guy lines don't have to stick out so far. Which isn't a really big deal. It really isn't. But it just seemed like I had to always find like a lot of room to set my tent up, because the guy lines stick out so much, which is fine though. I mean, but I went through a couple bad storms in that shelter. It held up like a beast. I mean, like a champ. It held up perfect. No rips, no tears, none of that. It was great. That's my big three, essentially. Now, I started out this trip with a Thermarest Neo Air X Lite, and I made it probably 50 miles, and I got rid of it and sent it back home and switched back to my Thermarest Solite pad. You know, this is the first time I've ever used an inflatable pad, so it was just too weird for me to get used to it. I honestly, I didn't like it. I know there's a lot of people swear by them, a lot of people love them. I personally just didn't like it. I like sleeping close to the ground. I like sleeping on my little compressed foam pad, and you know, so I switched it up and sent it home. Nothing wrong with the pad. I just personally couldn't get used to it. You know, clothing, I pretty much just wore my standard 5-inch inseam athletic pull-on shorts and a synthetic shirt. Base layer, I had some Walmart Russell brand athletic, just athletic base layers, synthetic base layers, and extra pair of socks, and an extra pair of 6-inch Under Armour briefs. That was my clothing. I had my Sierra Designs Elite Dry Down hoodie that I did bring. I've only wore it, I think I wore it 2 nights the whole trip. So, but that's one thing I don't really leave my pack without, is my down coat or some kind of insulation like that. I also started out the trip with a icebreaker half zip merino wool long sleeve, which I traded it up for I forget, for the Russell athletic top, I think, or something, and left it at Tammy's house. But that was pretty much my clothing. Shoes I started with were Columbia Tech Light trail runners, and I was really planning on just using them through the swamp and then getting rid of them, because I'd already had like 100 and something miles on them. But you know, the things lasted 400 and something miles, and still probably have 200 more miles on them before they really start to blow out. So I put 400 miles on them, and then when Mom met me at Clearwater Lake, I traded out to my Montreal Bajadas. And, you know, they're still going strong. I'm going to use them on some upcoming hikes, because they still got plenty of miles on them. And that was my shoes. So first aid kit was pretty basic. Some moleskin, which I never used. Some diaper rash ointment for chafing. A little bit of Gold Bond. Some Aquifer for my feet in wet conditions. And, you know, that's basically it for first aid. I had my Z-Packs toothbrush and some hand sanitizer, a little half-ounce bottle of hand sanitizer. And some tenacious tape and Cuban fiber repair tape. Just very basic first aid and possibles bag. My electronics bag, I had your standard, just 2-plug wall charger with the 2 USB plugs. I had my generic 20 ounce or generic 20 megahertz or mAh wall charger or little portable charger. Lightest one I could find at like 7 ounces. And for being a 20,000. And a couple little USB cables and some extra batteries for my watch, which was a kind of like a Fitbit. It's called LifeTrack. And it runs the same batteries as my headlamp, which was a Petzl E-Light, 26 lumens headlamp. You really don't want to use it for night hiking, but it'll work in a pinch. It's plenty good enough for camp. And my cook kit was a Tokes Light 650 titanium pot with a Fancy Feast alcohol stove made by Zelf, and just a little light load towel, little cut corner of a light load towel for wiping out stuff, mini Bic lighter. Wrapped it around the bandana and tied it up. And my food bag was a Z-Packs, the Z-Packs bear bag kit. I use that. I've used that on 3 through hikes now, and it's been great. It's still going strong and still going good. So, yeah, trying to think of what else to put in there. Water filtration, I started with a Sawyer Mini, and I switched over to Aquamira because I found that the filtering just seems like it takes so much time out of your day when I'm getting to that point where I just like to hike and not stop all day, and filtering water just takes so much time. So the Aquamira's bing bang, you're done. And I think that's going to be on my thing from now on. Instead of a filter, it's just going to go straight Aquamira now. Other than that, I had my Mont Bell Versalite rain jacket and my anti-gravity gear rain kilt. Trekking poles I used was the Carbon or Cascade Mountain Techs carbon fiber. I've used these on 2 or 3 through hikes, and they're still going strong. So the best $44 I spent so far. Not necessarily the best, but you know what I'm saying. They've paid for themselves. My stick pick, it's great. It's what I use to record all these videos. My sunglasses, if you've watched any of my other videos, they're still going strong. They're my Bolle acrylics. They're still going okay. I switched out hats a couple times throughout the trip. Pretty much did away with stuff sacks and everything. I did put a couple little things in a Cuban fiber, like my wallet, Cuban fiber zip bag, and my electronics I put in the Cuban fiber zip bag. Water bottles, I just used Powerade bottles with like a 20-ounce smart water bottle. And I carried a 2-liter platypus for my backup water. And that was pretty much it for what I carried the whole trip. That was it. My base weight was sub 9 pounds, and sometimes my pack felt a little heavier because some days I carried a lot of food on this trip for some reason. I mean, I always had a backpack full of food, but better to have it than not to have it. Yeah, other than that, I that was pretty much the sum of my gear that I took. So if you guys have any questions, if you have any comments or anything, just let me know. Continue to watch my videos if you want. Got an AT hike plan coming up. Probably gonna switch it though, and instead of going Nobo, I'm gonna do a Sobo because I'm a little bit different. So do a Sobo. That's gonna give me a couple more months to regroup around here, and that's what it's looking like. So got some stuff in the fire, got some stuff working. Probably gonna change out some gear. Probably gonna update some gear, and all that good stuff. So if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. If I can help you anyway. If you have any things you need to know or want to know, then just hit me up. I'll answer you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, guys. Boxcar out.